Everyone, I will be your host today. My name is David. First of all, I would like to welcome you to our 10-year anniversary of Data Science Conference and our third year in a row for Pandora, where data meets games. We have gathered over 3,000 data scientists, and thank you for joining us. Our first talk will be by Lara Rajkovic, which is the senior data analyst for Nanobit. And she will be talking to us about optimizing of a mobile game, LiveOps, with data-driven decisions. At her current role, she leverages analytics to optimize player engagement in mobile gaming. And today she will be showing us what a crucial role LiveOps are in sustaining player satisfaction and driving revenue in free-to-play games. She will be also showing us how to use analytics to refine pricing strategies and the in-game economy, showing practical examples of how these efforts enhance player experience and game performance. Can I have a round of applause for Lara?
Thank you. Hi all, I'm excited to be here for the third time and first time as a speaker. So today I will talk to you about how you can optimize your mobile game LiveOps with the help of data analytics. Okay, I'm doing this. I work as senior data analyst at Nanobit, which is a mobile gaming company based in Zagreb. We are part of Stillfront Group since 2020, and in 16 years after founding Nanobit, in these 16 years, more than 20 games were released with more than 250 million downloads, and we have currently around 120 employees.
She will be also showing us
some of our currently most popular games are Too Hot to Handle, which was made for Netflix. It is based on their famous reality show, and it is interactive story game, and it is one of the most successful Netflix games. Hi all, I'm excited to be here. Then we have our free-to-play games, for example Linked, which is a game like Tinder, where you swipe text and go on dates with different NPCs. Hollywood Story, where you want to become a Hollywood star and record movies and wear nice clothes. And Taboo Stories, which is interactive story game where you read romantic stories and choose what will happen next. So what even are LiveOps? It is quite a broad term, and there is no like one universal definition, but we can say that it includes all changes and updates made to the mobile live game, and it comes from the, not actually just mobile, but to all live games, and it comes from the term live operations. So some of LiveOps activities are time-limited offers, time-limited events, and content updates, and we will talk about those today. These are all made in order to engage players and improve their lifetime revenue. First, we will talk about pricing of time-limited offers. We can segment our users using simple segmentation technique called RFM, which stands for recency, how recent the user bought something, which is how many days since the last purchase. It is frequency, how many purchases in total the user has made, and monetary, which is how much money the user has spent. And with using these three metrics, we can put our players in different segments in order to give them more personalized offers. When we did this segmentation on our data, we saw that, of course, the biggest revenue share comes from users that bought something recently and that have high monetary and frequency values, and we call those these segments champions. But we also saw that over 35% of our paying active users haven't made a purchase in a while, and we call these segments hibernating segments.
First, we'll talk about pricing,
and they don't contribute much to the revenue.
So
that's why we decided to try to engage those users. And in our game Hollywood Story, we introduced a so-called reactivation offer, where for 2 days, those users could get an offer with special items, varying amount of gems, and we wanted to give them something which was not available anywhere else in the game, which was unlimited energy.
Put our players in different segments.
So based on their frequency and monetary score, they got a bit different prices and
we saw that
discounts,
the biggest revenue share
and we A/B tested that
bought
offer.
something recently, and they
only 3.5% of users that saw it bought it, which was not very successful. And we didn't manage to increase their revenue or engage them more. So we concluded here that targeting only these hibernating users wasn't an effective strategy.
And they don't contribute.
That's why in our other game, Winked, we decided to do a bit different segmentation.
Those users.
Here we have a seasonal offer, which runs once a month, and it's offer where users can buy all gems packages with a discount. We decided to try this segmentation on that offer and highlight users free packages with discounts based on their segment. Then we did a bit different segmentation. One segment were all payers with high frequency and monetary score. And other one was low and middle payers who were hibernating,
of users
and third one was were potential loyalists, which were users that bought something recently but still didn't have big monetary and frequency score. And we also highlighted different offers with different discounts. This time, high payers and potential loyalists showed a big increase in revenue, and other segments here weren't very different between control and test group. And this resulted in total 19% of revenue increase on that seasonal offer. So this time it was successful, and we are still running it in our users free packages with discounts. Okay. Next, we'll talk about time-limited events and how we can measure their results.
One segment
in our game Hollywood Story, we had 8th birthday celebration. And so we made an event that lasted for 8 days, and it included energy increase, extra minigames entries, and discounts on gems. Since this event occurs only once a year, we didn't want to A/B test it, so the question was how can we measure the results. There is a statistical technique called causal impact analysis. It was implemented by Google, and there is quite easy package to use in R, which estimates impact of so-called intervention. In our case, intervention is the event, and it estimates what would be the revenue if there was no intervention and compares it to the real revenue. And it uses some Bayesian structural time series models.
Next, we'll talk about time-limited events.
We need to define pre-intervention period, which is in our case, this period when none of LiveOps events are active, and we can also define covariates, which are independent variables, which help to predict trend and seasonality in the revenue. So in our case, these covariates were other games' revenue.
How can we measure the results? There is statistical
when we
technique called
ran this,
causal impact
we
analysis.
saw that
It was implemented by
revenue
Google,
had
and
a
there is
significant
quite,
increase in the first 3
easy
days
package to use
of
in R,
16%.
which
But after that,
estimates
we also
impact
had
of
other
so-called
LiveOps starting
intervention.
at the same
In
time,
our case,
so we couldn't
intervention
measure
is
the
event,
impact
and
only of
it
that one event.
estimates what would be the
But when
revenue
all
if
LiveOps
there was no
ended, here
intervention
the
and
revenue
compares it to
returned
the
back
real
to
revenue.
normal
And
expected
it
values,
uses
so
some,
we concluded
Bayesian
that
structural
the
time
birthday
series
event was
models.
successful.
We need to define pre-intervention period,
Popular
which is,
offers in free-to-play games
in our case,
are
this
these
period
so-called
when
chain
none
offers,
of LiveOps
where you
events
collect
are
free
active.
rewards, and then
we
at
can
one point
also,
you need to make a
define,
purchase to continue
covariates, which
collecting
are
rewards.
independent,
So we also
variables,
tested this offer in our
which
game
help
Hollywood,
to predict
and
trend and
it
seasonality in
included
the
18 rewards, and 5
So
of
in
them
our
were
case,
in-app
these
purchases.
covariates were other games' revenue.
We saw when we A/B tested it that the
when
revenue
we
increased during the
ran
event,
this,
but
we
then
saw that
afterwards
revenue
it
had significant increase
decreased
in the
a
first
bit
3 days,
because users were
of
buying less
16%.
gems packages, which
but
they
after
usually buy.
that we also had
That's
other
why
LiveOps
we
starting
decided,
at the same time, so we
since
couldn't
these
measure,
rewards also
the,
included gems
impact
as
only of
rewards,
that one event.
to replace
But
them
when
with
all
items
LiveOps ended,
that
here the revenue returned back to
users
normal
can wear.
expected values, so we concluded
And
that
this time when we
the
tested
birthday
it
event was
again, we
successful.
also saw increase of 10% in revenue during the event,
Popular
but there
offers
wasn't
in
a
free-to-play
decrease
games
afterwards.
are
So
these so-called chain
this
offers,
event was
where you collect free
better and successful.
rewards, and then at one point you need to make a purchase.
a
to
major
continue,
part of maintaining
collecting
the live
rewards.
game are content
So we also
updates.
tested this offer in our game
In our game Winked, content updates are
and
updates
it,
of the story
included 18
made
rewards,
to
and 5
the
of them were in-app
different
purchases.
NPCs that we have. And they can be both new
We
stories
saw when
that
we
are now
tested it
introduced,
that the
and
revenue
you can
increased during
start
the
to text
event,
with those
but then
NPCs,
afterwards
or old
it,
NPCs and stories that
decreased
were
a
already
bit,
in the game.
because users were buying less
We saw
gems
that
packages,
when we
which they
release
usually
content
buy.
update, there
That's
is
why we decided
there are increases in revenue,
since
especially
these
for
rewards
users
also
that
included,
play game for a
gems
while.
as rewards.
But we also
to
saw
replace
that
them with
results can
items that,
vary a lot. For example,
users
when
can
we
wear.
released content update for Caleb
And
here,
this time
it
when
was
we
a
tested it
big
again,
spike,
we also
but
saw
when we did it
increase of
for
10% in
Sophia,
revenue
we
during the
didn't see
event,
any
but there
increase.
wasn't a decrease afterwards.
These
So,
content updates were doing quite,
this event
were done quite
better
randomly,
and successful.
and there wasn't some logic behind when will we update the
of
next
maintaining
NPC.
the live game are
There was
content
even
updates.
idea, okay, we should update every
in our game,
NPC
content
15
updates are
times,
updates of
and
the
that's
story,
it.
made
And then we
to
were
the
thinking, okay,
different NPCs
in order
that
to
we have.
stabilize our revenue,
And, they can be
we need
both
to
new
make
stories that are now
some
introduced, and
strategic
you can start to
approach
text with
based
those
on the data.
NPCs, or old NPCs and stories
So
that
what
were
was
already in the
important
game.
that different updates of the
We
same
saw that
story
we
of the same
when we
NPC
release content updates,
show
there is,
similar results.
there are increases in
And
revenue,
They'll
especially
that
for
helps
users
us because then we
play
can
game
predict
for a while.
what would be
But we also saw
result
that,
of the next
results can
update based on the
vary a
previous
lot.
updates.
For example,
We can
when
measure
we,
results
released
using
content updates for
looking
Caleb
at how
here,
many gems
was a
users
big
spent.
spike, but
And
when
that
we
is a
did
good
it
measure
for
because it
Sophia,
shows
we
both
didn't see
how
any
many users
increase.
interacted with the story and
These
how much
content
they
updates
spent
were
in
doing
that
quite,
story while reading it.
were done quite randomly.
So to formalize this,
And there
this
wasn't some
we
which
introduced
behind
success
when
metric,
will we
which
update
was
the next
percentage
NPC.
of gems spent
There
on
was
that
even
story
idea, okay,
out of
we
all
should
gems
update every
spent
NPC
within the
15
first
times,
3
and
days
that's it.
after
And then
the
we were
content
thinking,
update.
okay, in order
So
to
we can
stabilize
measure
our revenue,
results of
we need
old
to make
NPCs
some strategic
and
approach based on the
then
data.
prioritize them based on that. But also new stories that we
So what
introduce
was
we cannot
important,
measure, so
that
they
different updates of the same
represent
story,
some
of the same
investment.
NPC,
And
show
that's why
similar
we decided to do
results.
them less frequently, like once a month,
helps us
because they are also take more time to make them.
Update based on the previous updates.
So then,
measure
based on
results,
this success
using,
metric, our
looking
team
at how
can now
many gems users spent.
compare
And that is a good measure because
results
it shows
of
both
the last update
how
of the
many
NPC,
users
and
interacted
based
with
on
the
that
story
they
and
can
how much
decide
they spent
which
in that
update
story
should
while
happen
reading it.
next, which NPC should be
So
updated.
to formalize it,
And since we implemented this approach, our revenue of the game stabilized,
spent on that
and
story out
some
of all gems
bad content updates
spent
are much less
within the
frequent.
first 3 days after the
Similarly, in our game Hollywood Story,
So
we
we
have
can,
seasonal
measure
offer where you can
results
buy
of
seasonal
all
outfit,
NPCs,
and we can also
and
measure
then
how
prioritize them based on
successful
that,
it was,
but
with
also new stories
percentage
that
of
we
revenue
introduced, we
that
cannot
offer
measure, so
brought
they,
in the period while it was
represent
active.
some investment.
And then,
that's why
for
we
example,
decided
in
to
the
do
last
them
year,
less
the Y
frequently, like
axis is
once a
missing
month,
here, but we can see
because they're also
that this offer
take
was the
more-
most successful,
more
and
time to
then we
make
can
them.
see what kind of offers our users like,
So then,
and
based on
plan
this success
what kind
metric,
of outfits
our team
should
can now
be done.
compare results of the last update of the NPC, and based on that,
I'm at the
they
end.
can decide which update should happen next, which
But with the help,
And
so
since
to
we
conclude,
implemented this
with the
approach,
help of the
our,
data
revenue of the
analytics,
game stabilized,
we can segment
and,
users to
some
give them more
bad content
personalized
updates
experience.
are much
We
less
can measure success of our events and tweak them if it's
similarly,
necessary.
in our game
We
Story,
can plan
have
and
seasonal
prioritize
offer
content
where we can
updates.
buy seasonal outfits,
And what is most
we can
important, we can
also,
see what our users like or
measure,
don't like to
how
continuously
successful
improve
it
the
was
game.
with percentage of revenue
That's
that
it.
the
Thank you.
offer brought in the period while it was active. And then, for example, in the
Does
last year,
anybody have any
the
questions?
Y-axis is missing here, but we can
We're
see
just going to need
that
a
this,
microphone
offer
because we
was
are filming
the
this.
most
Just
successful,
wait one
and
second.
then we can see what kind of offers our users like, and plan what kind of outfits should be done.
So you said that some content updates drove more
Okay, I'm at the end.
revenue increase. Did you
But
get
with the
reach
help,
any conclusion
so
what
to
type
conclude,
of content update
with the
would
help of
drive
the,
more
data
revenue
analytics,
increase?
We can segment users
yes,
to give them more
we saw that.
personalized
I mean, our editorial
can
team
measure
knows
success
better
of our
about
events and tweak
the
them if it's
specific stories,
necessary.
and then they
We
know
can
how to
plan and
write a similar
prioritize
story when
content
they
updates.
introduce a new one.
And what
But
is,
we saw that
most
they like
important, we can see what our users
steamier
like or
stories,
don't like,
and
continuously
I don't know,
improve the
males
game.
are performing better for our
Thank you.
audience, and stuff like that. So that was helpful for our new updates. But some of these NPCs are always performing the best, and then we continuously update them. Otherwise, if we wouldn't look at the data, we would just end them because it's a quite long story already, but they still like to read it and engage with it.
Thank you. So you said that some content
I may.
updates drove more.
Thank you. Yeah, very good
revenue
presentation
increase.
anyway.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Have-
congratulations.
Did you?
I had a similar question. How
get
does that
reach any
affect the
conclusion
creative? But you
what
pretty much
type of
answered.
content
I
update
had
would
another.
drive more,
Do
revenue
you
increase?
invest events such as Halloween,
yes,
Christmas,
we saw
Valentine's
that.
Day? Does that affect
I mean,
your
our
line of
editorial
work?
team knows better about
Sort of?
for
the
these
specific
NPCs,
stories,
or
Yeah,
and
in
they
your
know how to
everyday
write a
line of
similar
work,
story
do
when
you
they introduce
invest
a new
more
one. But we saw
into,
that they like
promotions for
steamier
Christmas or
stories.
Valentine's
Yeah.
Day more specifically?
And, yes, in all our games, we, for example, in Winged
for our
have
audience
these
stuff
seasonal
like that.
NPCs,
So that
which
was helpful
appear
for
only
our new
for
updates.
Christmas
But some of these
or Halloween. I don't know,
NPCs
some
are always
werewolf or
performing the
something
best,
like that.
and we
And
continuously
they
update them.
can perform quite well.
Otherwise,
It's
if we
not always, but
wouldn't
it
look at the
depends.
data, we would
And
just
in our
end
other
them
games
because,
also these offers and
it's
stuff
a quite
work
long story already,
always the
but
best
they
for
still like to
Christmas
read it and engage with
and
it.
Halloween is
Thank you.
also quite
Thank you.
no problem.
If I may. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, very good presentation anyway.
Thank you.
Boyan here, thanks for presentation. Yes, I understand that most of your story was about the revenue, how to get users more into that area, but does your Nanobit team is trying to use AI for editorial purposes, for making NPC stories based on the previous successful stories and those type of things?
Yeah, there were a lot of testing it, and it currently helps them use to do some everyday job and speed them up, but we didn't find some tool that would completely do the story. They weren't interesting enough for now. But now it's all the time in experimentation, and I think eventually it will get better and better. Also, maybe one day there will be stories that are answering
yes, I understand that,
with the AI.
most of
Currently,
your
it's
story
all
was about the
written
revenue, how
before.
to get users more into that area, but does your Nanobit
Thank
team
you for the
trying to use
presentation.
AI
You
for
have mentioned
editorial
that you
purposes,
used
for making
RFM segmentation
NPC
for the
stories
author
based on the
optimization,
previous
and
successful stories.
you also mentioned
those
that
type
you changed
Yeah,
for two
there
clusters.
were a lot of testing
Two
it,
clusters, right? Two
and
segments.
it currently helps
Have you
them
tried
use,
to change
to do some
pricing policy for
everyday
the
job
whales and the minnows?
speed them up, but
Like for
we didn't find
players
some tool
who
that would
pay very
completely do
much,
the story.
and
They
for
weren't
players who
interesting
are
enough
not
for now.
able to pay
But
even
now
$10.
it's all the time in
experimentation.
yeah, with pricing we tried a lot of stuff. Also, some models
I
that
think
weren't
it will get better and better. Also,
simple
maybe
segmentation,
one
but
day they will
that were predicting if the user
are,
would pay or not. But we didn't
answering,
see some
with
significant
the AI.
results. And
Currently
here,
it's
for
all
example,
written
we
before.
tested one segment where these whales actually high-paying users, and since they are the most impactful, and we managed to make them pay more offers, so to buy more offers than before. So because of them, this test was successful, and usually when we test something for users with lower price points, it depends on the game. In some games it works, in some games not. If you have a big player base in that game, it works better. But we tried it.
Hi, Lara. Thanks for the
Hi.
presentation. Are you pairing any user experience research results to measure user satisfaction and see if it correlates on the long term with revenue?
You think like with some comments or like how can we measure user experience?
I mean, through surveys, brand trackers,
yeah.
user experience research.
Okay. We haven't done that actually. We were thinking, inspired by your presentation, actually, could we maybe, based on the comments on store, do some research? But our comments are very similar. I don't know if you saw comments on free-to-play games. Usually people want more gems, and you cannot conclude much from that, unfortunately. But surveys, that could be done in the future, and it would be nice to see that.
Yeah, I mean, actually, if they're commenting just that and not saying anything negative, that's also okay.
There are everything, but majority are satisfied, so it's fine.
Hello, thanks for the presentation. It was really great. First thing I wanted to confirm that we got the same result about hibernating users. Like we also tried the reconversion pack, and it also impacted a low portion of them. Actually, the same portion that generally on their own reconvert, and only the spread between the packages differed. Like they will just, some of them will buy the one we insist on. So we concluded that they are actually not driven by the discount, but just like like the general motivation. I just wanted to ask, like, what is the biggest driver of the monetization? Since I haven't played your game, but I see that it's based on the story. So is it the cosmetics and the characters, or generally you drive the most of the sync from the gems and hard currency?
We drive most sync from gems, but in Hollywood Story, for example, they like cosmetics and clothes. But in these story-based games, it's really about the quality of the story and if they hook them up or no. And they get to, they need to get really into the story to make a purchase, I would say. And also about these hibernating segments, the problem is also that sometimes it is like increase in revenue, but it's so little that you cannot measure it with statistical tests, and it's not worth it then at the end, most of the times.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thanks. I have a question. I'm not sure how the data is segmented in the online gaming segment, but are you able to tell if player X is the same player in one game and in the other game? And if you ever compared if player X is high spender in one game, if the same player is also high spender in other game? And if you can analyze this, did you ever try to funnel high spenders to more of your games? Basically via some special offers, play this game, get 5k gems for free.
Yeah, since we have like internal tools to track data, we can see if the same player was in our games. And we did also a lot of this testing for cross-promotion to go in from one game to the other. But for now, we don't have some very successful cross-promotions. I don't know, they just do it. We offer them some reward if they do it, and they get the reward, and they don't play the other game. So it's not that easy to do that, I would say, in our experience.
I would just like to add that we only have time for one more question. So.
Hi, thanks for the presentation. I'm interested in, do you also monetize through advertising? And if you do, how do these updates affect advertising revenue? And if you don't, did you ever consider it?
Yeah, we are also doing that, mostly for users who don't convert. But we also, paying users can also watch some ads. And but it's much smaller percentage of our revenue, so we're not that concentrated on that. But still, when we have resources and time, because there's not much development in those tests, we try to improve ad monetization. Most of these changes didn't affect ad monetization negatively, so usually we just it just improves when we do some testing with new ads or something.
Okay, thanks.
No problem.
Okay, that's it. If anybody has any more questions, I'm sure you can manage to ask them later. And for now, thank you, Lara. I would like to give you the certificate of appreciation by the center.
Thank you.